welcome to our talk today on how to build a cohesive brand. Oh, I am so excited to go over this topic. Thank you again, FashionGo, for sponsoring this talk. I'm so excited to be part of FashionGo Week. So we are just a proud partner. My name is Jeanel Alvarado, and I am the CEO and founder of RETAILBOSS Inc. So I'm super happy to be here. We run the largest retail community online, the largest, and we are so happy to be here and supporting this awesome company. We love FashionGo. So many people who have been in our community rave and say that FashionGo is just an awesome platform, and we cannot agree more. So let's get into this discussion. Super happy to be here to be talking to you about this topic today. So I'm going to just go right into it and share this slide with you. If you have your pen and paper ready to go, please have it ready now because I'm going to be flying through this content. You can always go through the PowerPoint again later, where you can read all the content on there. But I'm just going to really say the best things right now for you can really just write down the key points now, and then you can go back and read everything else later. So let me share my screen with you. All right, so building a cohesive brand. Let's get right into it. So here's just a quick little recap about me. My name is Jeanel Alvarado. I'm the CEO and founder of RETAILBOSS Inc. I am the former managing director of the School of Retailing at the Alberta School of Business, where I would manage over 20 students to do consulting projects for big companies like Victoria's Secret, as well as big mall real estate companies such as Ivanhoe Cambridge and Cushman & Wakefield that own a majority of the biggest malls in Canada. So I used to help a lot with that, and I ran that group. Also, my education, I have a Bachelor's of Commerce degree in marketing, a minor in fashion merchandising, also a certificate in real estate from my school as well with a retail focus, as well as a diploma in fashion marketing and buying. So hopefully that sounds kind of interesting to you and gives you an idea where I get a lot of my expertise from, as well as I have a lot of different businesses where I do a lot of online and I do a lot of strategic helping in the tech side of things as well. So let's get right into it. So branding. Here is just a quick little checklist. This is what you should have done already. This is what should be done already. But if you're just getting started out, I just put this quick little checklist, and then hopefully you guys can get all of this done when it comes to your branding, the first bit here. So your branding checklist before you really dive into creating your online or offline presence. So this is the prereq would be you would have to know your target market, your target audience. Not just who they are. It's more important to know what they like. So what appeals to them? What kind of content do they like online? What are they searching for online? What do they do with their time offline? It's more what are their interests and getting an idea what their tastes are when it comes to branding. So when you create a brand, it's something you know they'll like. Number 2 is value proposition. So this is you versus your competitor as well as your offer. This is different than having simply a differentiator. So, in marketing, we talk a lot about having differentiators. Here, a value proposition is what is the value that you're going to offer to somebody, right? Versus what your competitors are already offering. All right. You guys could have the exact same things, right? Let's say I sell blazers and somebody else sells blazers. Well, I don't really have a differentiator, but in marketing, what we would really define more as a differentiator is maybe, let's say hypothetically, the differences in the fabric, all right? The fabric is, mine's more expensive fabric, that one's cheaper fabric, okay? That's a differentiator. But a value proposition is more in line with what is the value I am providing in exchange for the cost. So it's not so much just quality. There also has to be a proposition. So what is going to be the benefit? So this is where branding is really more communication. Yes, we probably know that this is higher quality. Like let's say the different, if I'm going to get this is Gucci versus getting a blazer from Zara, I already know the differentiator. I already know that's better quality versus this. But I need a value proposition to encourage me to buy this one if they look kind of similar. So that value proposition could be something more along the lines of, for the Zara at least, it could be You can look great. We propose that you will look great for less, right? It'll cost you less. And that's our offer to you. And it's still going to be pretty good quality to last you at least a few seasons. So that could be your value proposition. So it's not terrible quality. It definitely isn't as great as a Gucci suit, but this is the value proposition and this is going to be the cost. I'm telling you that, it's going to look great. It may not be the best quality, might not last you forever, maybe last you a couple seasons, but this will be the cost and that's my offer. So that's more what a value proposition would be. Very, very clear on that and making sure that that's well communicated and not said in that way, but it's communicated more in your brand voice and tone that you know what you're offering. And that's what it is. So number 3 would be your mission statement. That is your vision and goals. You should know the overarching rationale of why you're running the business that you're running. For example, let's say you are an African clothing company and you want to use a specific type of fabric that's made in Africa, like Ankara. You want to use that fabric for you can make sure that you can help people in Africa, make a living creating textile fabrics. And your goal is to have at least, 2,000 factory workers added every year, something like that, right? So that's your overarching mission statement for your brand, other than just selling African clothing. Number 4 is your brand voice, which is your personality, right? So are you going to be cheerful and fun? Are you like Coca-Cola and McDonald's and it's family oriented? Or are you like Lululemon and you're more active and, into fitness and health? Or are you more of a Louis Vuitton and you're going to be more exclusive and, more professional and maybe even serious type of a brand? Okay, so that's going to help you in figuring out how you're going to communicate to your target market. Next is your competition. You're going to want to know who your competition is for you. Make sure that you don't have a value proposition, mission statement, brand voice, target market that is exactly identical to somebody else, right? You would be surprised how much that does happen. So you want to make sure for then you can tweak yours a bit or maybe come at it in a different angle if you really don't think you can compete in their space. So next brings us into the brand design. So this is the fun stuff. We're going to get right into it. So the stuff I just mentioned before is your pre things. You're supposed to have that done already. So please, if you haven't, go back to the slides, finish that out. And then this is for the fun stuff. When you actually have defined all of those things, you put in all that work, now it's time for the fun. So first is going to be you doing your brand logo, then your colors, your typeface, the kind of font you're going to use, your website design, and then your social media. So first with your logo, here's an example of Misguided. I just wanted to show an example of the different logos that they have. The one here with the triangle with the M in it is what they actually use for their Instagram. It's a symbol. And I can get more into this another day. If you follow us on retailboss.inc, I will do something about this on another day. And it's more or less a talk on how symbols are so important, how they are so important. If some of you guys follow Dapper Dan on Instagram, he is a fashion mogul in the hip hop fashion industry, as well as, for luxury and bridging that gap between hip hop and luxury fashion. And he talks all about symbols like Louis Vuitton and Gucci and how, symbols really build a brand. It's not just the name. It is the symbols that people identify with. And it actually has an ancient origin on how people identify with symbols through the Egyptian times until now. So really interesting stuff if you're interested in like fashion history and stuff like that, which I love. Make sure you guys hit me up and I'll do something about that. So type and color. So again here, Misguided tends to use, the same font. I think they use maybe 2 fonts here. Maybe they're just changing the width or the height of some of their font, putting the text closer together or less together, but it's still the same font overall. So website design. So here I have listed a lot of do's and don'ts for a lot of these points that you guys can, write down another time or just print this out. But I'm just going to go over a few as I kind of skim over. So a few do's that you want to do when you're doing your website header. Like I mentioned before, when it comes to your website, the majority of the cost that you're going to be spending is the content. If anybody tells you you're going to be spending more on other things, they're lying to you. So make sure you're spending the majority of your money to make a website on content. And what I mean by content, I mean product images, model shoots, all of that stuff for your stylist, for your campaigns, for your influencer marketing. All of that should be spent to make a website. Content is your website. The website is just a medium, just somewhere you have to put the content to get the sale. Okay. So I recommend using a slider. I love sliders. You should have a 2 to 3 slider of headers. There should be always a collection. When people click it, the collection should then be cohesive and go into the product photos. A little tip that I wrote in here is to make sure you plan ahead. A lot of people get overwhelmed with having to come up with new header photos because you should have different headers and different campaign photos every month. So what I always say is try to get as many different variety or have different variety of models all at the same time, so you can get all your content shoot done or a few done within a shoot. So maybe every shoot you get 3 campaigns done, right? So then during the year you don't have to do as many shoots, and you'll save money as well. So some of the don'ts that I would say is don't over accessorize. Make sure the background is going to be probably the most expensive part of it if you're doing a campaign. So make sure you pick a nice location. It's okay to pay, $200 to $400 for a space, but you can use it for so many different things. I highly recommend it. Do not spend a bunch of money on props. Do not spend a bunch of money on accessories. Please make the product the focus. Have a nice backdrop and select a model that fits your brand well. So that moves us into the product photos. And this whole talk is all about being cohesive. So now that you see these product photos here, this is just a continuum of the campaign. So let me go back again just to re-show you. Here's the campaign. You can kind of get the essence of where they're going with this. And then when you click shop the collection, it'll move you into this over here. So over here has all the stuff that you need that is very specific to the actual product photos. But as you see, the product photos is still cohesive, right? The backdrop still looks like it was shot in the same house, right? And it has the same kind of cohesive vibe, even though it's product photos. So make sure you guys do that. If you make a campaign, make sure all the photos, are cohesive. It's not just a white backdrop. That doesn't work anymore. So make sure you guys are ahead of this new trend. So again, we are moving into the lifestyle product photos. So this is really cool. This is just a little bonus I threw in here. This is from House of CB. They're starting to add lifestyle product photography in the product photo area. You should do the same because it's really fun. I highly enjoy it. So Instagram. All right. So now we're looking into your brand logo. I just have a few examples on the different types of logos you could use in your Instagram circle. Here we have Beauty Blender. You can actually just use your product if you have a simple product like that. Then Louis Vuitton and also RETAILBOSS.inc. We both use symbols. And then an example here was Closet Envy, who actually just uses their brand name. So here's some do's that you should do in your Instagram bio. You should make sure in your first 2 lines that you are communicating who your brand is for. So here it says this is a British women's wear luxury, right? So that communicates right off the bat who most likely this is for. Okay, women's luxury clothing. Then you want to move into having some differentiators that, differentiate from other brands. So here it says designed in London, created by women, quality over everything. So it gives us some more information. Also, the only thing that was missing from here was a call to action that says shop their feed. You should always have that. So that's something that you also need. Some don'ts. Here's an example right here of what not to do. My biggest takeaway from this is they're not using Instagram highlights at all. Instagram highlights are so underrated. Instead of putting all that information about shipping or returns or store hours, all of that into your Instagram bio, put it all into your highlights. Okay, create highlights that are for shipping, returns, store hours, all of that stuff. Okay, that really makes you're just using up valuable real estate in your bio if you're not using your highlights. So here's your Instagram feed. Here's some do's. Make sure that you are consistent. Make a mood board. Make sure your colors are in line with each other. This is an example that I took from House of CB. As you can see, they did their campaign. All the photos are cohesive. The models are wearing similar clothing. Even the drapery of the clothing is very similar because cohesion is so important. That's why this is what the talk is called, how to have a cohesive brand. And you really want to have that across all of your platforms. Another thing I wanted to mention quickly is to make sure you have the same models. Try not to switch up your models too much, especially when you're just starting out. I will tell you time and time again that people remember models so well, and in Instagram it's so cluttered that people will remember a face. So you may be a new brand, and people, even if they see your photos, right, they may not know it's from you because people are just looking at photos, right? Especially in the explore feed. But if they start to identify a certain model, they know it's you before they have to click and find out that it's your brand, right? So House of CB does this very well, as well as other influencers who do their own modeling for their shoot, because it's easy to identify, oh, I don't even have to click into that photo and see the name. I know whose that is. So make sure you use the same models and switch up the campaigns is what I highly recommend people to do to have more of a cohesive brand, because it's not just about the clothing and not just about the backdrops, it's also about the models. Here's some don'ts. So here's a little example here. Please do not use, low budget models. The biggest reason why I suggest not using low budget models is because they probably won't be available again. And how can you have a cohesive brand if you're trying to chase down people who kind of do this as a hobby? Make sure you pick a few models who are going to be dedicated to this. Come up with a plan to use them monthly and do it the right way, because they are so imperative to you building your brand more than you know. Another thing is make sure you stop using quotes. Stop using quotes. You know what I mean? The whole goal in your post is to convert a sale. Instead of using quotes, I suggest doing lifestyle photos. Okay, so make sure you're making lifestyle photography, right? If you have a lifestyle photography, then you can use lifestyle hashtags, which I'm going to get into that in the next slide here. So here's some do's for your hashtags. Again, you can come back to these slides later and get all the information here, but I wanted to just bring up that you should use, terms and hashtags that have less than 150,000 quotes, or sorry, not quotes, hashtags. So make sure you don't use, hashtags that have like over 1 million or over 500K posts already in it. So here's an example here of what I suggest. Make sure you use 2 terms max. Well, I would say minimum and max. I think you should just use hashtag sequence blazer, hashtag floral dress, or hashtag plaid dress, perform the best for clothing. So that's a big thing that I want to bring up. Also, make sure you use lifestyle inspired hashtags. For example, I have here, if you have, let's say, a Black woman in a dress traveling, use something like hashtag Black travel, or hashtag boss lifestyle, or hashtag jet setter. See what I'm saying? Now, if you have lifestyle photography of people wearing your clothing that's more lifestyle based, you can use lifestyle hashtags, right? And you do those 2 in a mix. So you should have a mix of the specific clothing terms, mix of the lifestyle, and then also have maybe some of your branded hashtags part of that as well. Really not that hard. If you think of it being cohesive and making sure you're clear on not using something too broad, never use a term like hashtag dress or hashtag blazer. It's just going to be too many. So here's an example here of why using this hashtag is just not best. So here's a little bonus I have here is Pinterest. I just wanted to quickly mention this. This is the end of our talk. Oh, I was having so much fun. So this is the end here, but Pinterest, I just wanted to bring up, it's such a great platform for your brand to be on. If you are a boutique or a fashion label, please get on Pinterest if you're not already. If you, I know TikTok is all the talk right now, but just secure your TikTok handle, but don't waste your time on it right now. Go on Pinterest, get it together on Pinterest. There is so much available to you. And let me tell you, the amount of traffic that you can drive to your business with Pinterest is underrated. That's all I got to say. So, thank you all for this talk. I just wanted to quickly wrap it up to let you know again here in our slides what our Retail Boss community is all about. We have seminars, workshops, trips and tours, as well as networking opportunities. So, if you love all those things, you'll love our community. So, make sure you guys get in there. Make sure you guys follow us at retailboss.inc. It was a pleasure talking to you all today. Here again is our social links, how you can find us. Again, my name is Jeanel Alvarado. I hope this was an informative talk for you, and I hope this gave you a little bit more clarity on how to have a cohesive brand across your platform. So from your brand identity to your website to your content to your social media, I hope this really made it a little bit more clear how to be cohesive, because I find a lot of people miss this mark, and it's a very easy mark. It'll make things so much more simpler to you because it's hard to market something that isn't well branded, and you're losing out on a lot of great opportunity to build a loyal clientele if they don't really know what your brand is. So communicate is the key, and then you can do marketing after that. So this is your first step, and thank you so much, and it was great talking to you all today. Bye. And again, thank you, FashionGo, for this opportunity. And I'm so excited again to be part of Fashion Go Week. So have a great day and hope to see you guys soon.